present our recommendations on forced marriage. So thank you all very much for being here today. Now you've heard from my colleagues Kim and Jasmine some of our initial concerns on forced marriage criminalization, namely that it has severe evidential difficulties. But what I want to add to this is that criminalizing forced marriage is probably the worst way to deal with an issue that's embedded with so much cultural sensitivity. And I want to start on a personal note, being a member of a minority group myself. So while I would personally identify as American, or to make it more relevant to the context here, I identify myself as a Westerner, sometimes I'm reminded, or I'm told through government policy or law or the media that I'm not, or that if I am a Westerner, that I'm second class. And it's exactly laws such as this proposed criminalization of forced marriage that perpetuate this feeling and cause minority groups to disengage from government initiatives. So we know statistically that over 2/3 of forced marriage cases are South Asian in origin. But we also know that that leaves 1/3 of it. It's pretty safe to say that not one of us conjures an image of a white forced marriage victim, and that's our starting point. So in our report, we argue that any law needs to be, first of all, culturally neutral, and secondly, culturally sensitive. So first, it has to be culturally neutral in that it has to have equal application across all the demographics. So it will apply equally in all cases. And for this, we have to admit that forced marriage is not in itself discriminatory, because it will apply equally in all situations. But the thing is, the implication and the application of this law have the potential to be skewed because of the common association of this practice with South Asian communities. So there's a very likely chance that these communities will be profiled in the process of enforcing the law, creating a feeling of marginalization and stigmatization. But also, this will create an environment of exclusion to forced marriage victims who do not come from these communities. So essentially, you're hurting people on both, or victims on both ends of the spectrum. So in addition to forced marriage policy needing to be culturally neutral, it also needs to be culturally sensitive. And what we mean by this is that it needs to engage communities in a way